This conference will now be recorded.
So I have a blob storage. Inside this blob storage, I'm going to take the data from this container storage account. This is my storage account. Inside the storage account, I have a container. Inside the container, I have some files. This is my container. emp2.txt or emp3.txt. So this is how I have a files over here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to load this data into Azure SQL database or Synapse data warehousing, whatever it is. So I have a database over here. Inside this database, I'm going to load this data. So to perform this one, first we need to create a Azure Data Factory. So let's create Azure Data Factory. Go inside Azure, azure.com. Click on sign in. Log into the portal. So let's create these three things first. One is a storage account, and another one is a Azure database, and the next one is Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory, Azure database, and storage account. Alright, so first create storage account. Go to the storage account, click on storage accounts, click on create. Subscription, free trial subscription, and I'm going to create I want to use the existing one, eClasses project, resource group manager, storage account name, eClasses memory, ESTS location. So this name already someone has used, eClasses memory 678. Create it. So inside this storage account, we need to create a container. Go inside the storage account, go to the containers, click on container. The container name I'm going to give it as a employee container. Create it. Alright, so then you need to upload this. Select the files. If you want to create a folder also, you can able to create. Under the desktop, so EMP Bangalore, EMP HYD, EMP Chennai, these three files I'm going to upload. While I'm going to upload, I'm going to specify the folder name as well. Folder name I will give it as a EMP folder. Then upload it. So this setup has completed. I created one storage account inside the Azure, and I uploaded the files as well. Then create a SQL database. Click on SQL database, create it. It's a free trial version, e-classes project, sample database, and create a new SQL server, e-classes SQL123, e-classes click OK. Alright, try to reduce the number of DTUs, take it basic, click apply, review and create it. So inside this I'm going to create one table. So the file structure, if you observe, those are just having some EMP, employee basic information. So go inside. So this is the information I have for each employee location, their employee number, salary, employee name. So that data I want to load into this SQL database. So simply go to your SQL server. If you want to access this SQL server, the very first step you need to set the server firewall settings, add client IP, and also if you want to access your Azure Data Factory, to access this SQL database, you have to use this one. Okay, allow Azure services and resources to access the server. You need to make it yes, and then click on save it. Okay, then click OK. Now we can go back over here, and then after connect to query editor and try to connect this and create a table. Okay, so just create one table over here. Create table emp employee number integer, employee name varchar, salary integer. Click on run. Alright, so a table has created, emp table. Select start from emp. Table created. Let's go to Azure Data Factory. Click on Data Factories. Yeah, already we have created yesterday one Data Factory. So simply go to that inside Data Factory. Open the Azure Data Factory Studio. So the very first step what we need to do is we need to create a two linked services. One linked service for blob storage. Another linked service for SQL database. Another linked service for SQL database. So let's create. Where we can create, go to manage and go to the linked services. Click on new. Click on continue. Blob linked service. So connection via integration runtime this one, and subscription free trial subscription. Storage account name is this one. Test the connection. So for this storage account, whatever we created E classes memory 678, I'm connecting. Connection successful. Click create. So one more linked service you need to create for Azure SQL database. Click on new. Go to Azure. Just type it database. Azure SQL database. Yeah, this one. You can select this one. SQL database. Azure linked. Okay. And what is your see, for every linked service required integration runtime. The two linked services, whatever the data sources you are creating, are both in the cloud environment. Correct? Storage account is a cloud. Azure database is a cloud. Then these two linked services, what you are creating, it will use a integration runtime, that is auto resolve integration runtime. By default, your data factory will create this auto resolve integration runtime. Integration runtime providing compute infrastructure to execute the activities and to perform certain operations. Okay, to perform certain operations. So auto resolve integration runtime will be created by our SQL Azure Data Factory automatically to connect cloud services. Only cloud services. To connect to the cloud services, we can use this one. So that is the reason we have this one. Azure subscription is free trial. And what is your server name? You can select the server name as well, SQL server name. What is your database? Sample database. What kind of authentication you want to use? SQL or manager entire service principal, whatever. And I'm going to use SQL authentication. What is the username? E-classes. What is the password? The password, whatever I have entered at the time of creating this server. Test the connection. Connection success. Create the linked service. So once the linked services are created, then you need to do preparation of the data set. You need to prepare a data set for this one, because inside the storage account, from which container, what is the data you want to take, inside this Azure SQL database, to which table you want to load the data. So that is a preparation of the data sets. So two data sets you need to prepare. Data sets for blob delimited files. Data set for SQL database EMP table. Okay, so let's create first a data set for blob delimited file. Simply go over here. How to create a data sets? To create the data sets, you need to go to author. Under this, you have a data set. Click on the data sets. Click on new data set. So what is your data set? From where you are trying to take the data? From Azure Blob Storage. Click continue. And inside the Azure Blob Storage, what is the files you want to take? It is supporting currently, these are all the files. Avero file, binary, delimited text file, Excel, JSON, ORC, Parquet, XML, all these files it is supporting currently. The files what I am taking is a delimited text file. Click continue. Delimited text file. This data set name we can give ds underscore blob. And what is from which linked services you want to take the files? That is, already we created a blob linked service. And then from which container, what is the folder, what is the file? So simply browse it. So from the EMP folder, from the employee container EMP folder, I'm going to take this EMP bangalore.txt file. Okay, all right. So first row as a headers, right? Each file contains first row as a headers. Enable that option. Then click OK. All right. So this is the data set it has created. See, by using a linked service, this is the linked service I have used. To test the connection, you can test it, you can edit it, or if you want to create a new linked service, you can, and from which container, which folder, and which file you can able to create, and also any kind of row delimiters you can able to specify, and column delimiters like is it a comma separated or semicolon or pipe symbol, a tab symbol, you can able to specify over here as well. Okay, now let's create one more data set. That is for Azure. If you want to see the schema, you can able to see that. What are all the file? What are all the column names you have inside that file? These are all the three column names. Let's create for a SQL database as well. Click on new data set. This is for Azure SQL database. Click on this Azure SQL database. Click continue. This is for ds underscore SQL table. And this linked services is SQL database Azure linked service, and the table name is EMP table, and then click OK. So to this table I'm going to load the data. If you want to see this information here, see, this is the linked service. Test the connection. If you want to edit this linked service, you can edit. If you want to create a new linked service, you can create. To which table you want to load this data, you can. If you want to see the data what already available inside this EMP table, click on preview the data. nothing is here. So what you need to do, you need to load the data from this data set, whatever the data it is returning under the connection. See here, just hide it. So do you want to see inside this file what data you have? So simply click on preview the data. So this is the data I have inside this file. Okay. Now you need to create a pipeline. So we created two data sets and two linked services, two data sets. Then you need to prepare a pipeline over here. So what the pipeline has to do? Pipeline has to take the data from the two data sets, whatever you prepared. So I created a linked service and I created a data set. So what you need to do, this pipeline is going to take the data from this data set and loading into this data set. So what is the activity you need to take? The activity is a copy data activity. This is a pipeline. This is a copy data activity. All right. So by using these linked services, this data set will be prepared. From this data set, data will be copied from copy data activity to this data set by using this linked service. Let's go inside. There you can go to the pipelines, create a new pipeline. So pipeline name is pipeline underscore copy. Okay, this is our pipeline. So you have several activities. Which activity you want to take? Copy data activity. Right. So you need to configure this copy data activity. So what is the name you want to give this for this activity? Copy data activity. So you need to change the name as well. Copy data blob to table. You can give any name, some meaningful name over here. So if we want to provide some description also, you can able to provide the description about this copy data activity and also timeout. So this execution of this copy data activity, if it is more than this 7 hours, it will time out. Maximum amount of time an activity can run default is 7 days. Sorry, not 7 hours, it is 7 days, which is also the maximum amount of the time allowed format. So retries after 7 days, how many number of times you want to retry? If you are giving one more attempt, then it will execute one more time. And for each attempt, what is the difference you want to put? For every 30 minutes I want to attempt, after getting even it is 7 times, it is got 7, even within 7 days, if it is not executing and it is taking more time, then it will terminate, and after 30 minutes again it will try one more attempt. Okay, then you can go to the source. So to copy the data from where you want to take, so you already prepared one data set, right? You just take the data set over here. What is the data set? Blob storage, and go to the sink. And where do you want to sync this data? That is into the SQL table. And what columns you want to mapping? So simply import the schemas from both source and destinations. You will get these column names: employee number, employee name, salary. That is from source blob file. Destination employee number, employee name, salary from the target. So here we are going to map in this one. If you don't want to do any mapping for any of one, just select this one, click and delete. Okay, or else you can select this one or click on this one, delete this one. So this is how we can able to reset. Reset means you need to do manually. Okay, employee number and employee name, employee salary. This is how you can able to reset. If you want to add any new mapping, you can able to add. Okay, so if you want to import the schema, you can import the schema. Okay, so if you want to allow any kind of data truncation, sometimes your destination is the less volume, less number of characters, but source is getting more number of characters, then it is if you want to allow that kind of truncation, you can allow, otherwise it will throw the error, right? And treat boolean as a number. So when you are getting 1 0, then it will treat as a boolean, means true false values will convert it to 0 1. Date time format, if you want to change, you can able to change the date time format. And format string, when you're converting between dates with time zone offset and strings, so you can able to specify over here what is the format you want to. Let's say for example your source is getting format string when converting between dates without time zone offset and strings. Okay, any kind of time date related changes if you want to do, you can able to perform over here. Okay, so we are not going to perform anything here. Then simply you can, right, so we have done all, but if you observe under the source, we have mapped in the data set only one file, right? So let's execute this one. How to execute this pipeline? You need to click on the debug. Let us see how many files it is going to load. Right, it has executed. If you want to see the execution information in the bottom, copy data. So this is our input. So what is the input we have given? This is the one. So what is the file it is reading from the source system? It is reading okay, so that file name will not come here. So this is the schema, your sync and source, like employee number, employee name, salary columns. And what is the output? See, you can click on this output, you can able to see how many reads, how many writes happen. And if you want to see this information, a pictorial representation, you can click on these details. Okay, so you can click on the pictorial representation. See here, Azure Blob Storage. From here, from this region, we are taking the data and loading into the Azure SQL database region ECS. How many number of files read? Only one file. Which file you have given? Bangalore, EMP Bangalore. And how much size it is? 47 bytes. So how much it has written? 40 bytes. How much duration it has taken? And so all the information you can able to see. Okay, and so simply close this one. And you want to check whether the data has loaded or not, then go to SQL database, click on this query editor, click OK. Select start from EMP. Employee number, employee name, salary. Only Bangalore file has loaded, but I want to load all the files, right? So how can you do that one? So to load all the files, let's see, go to your copy data activity, what's happening here? File path in the data set. So whatever the file path you have given in the data set, so it is taking only that file. So go to your data set. So what you are doing, you are trying to take this emp container, emp folder, only this file you have given. So I don't want to give this file name. Okay, I don't want to give that file name. Now you can go to your pipeline, then you can able to execute. Before I'm going to execute, if I'm executing again, it will load the data, right? Again it will load again the data for emp Bangalore. You have already loaded, right? I want to truncate the data what I have inside the SQL table before I'm going to load. So where you can specify that, go to your sync. So here you can write down pre-copy script, means before copying the data what you are trying to execute over here. I'm trying to execute truncate table emp. Okay, all right, now we can debug it. Debugging is dataset ds underscore location is a folder. The wildcard file name is required for copy the data blob to table. Okay, so here you haven't specified any file name. So in this situation what you need to do is, in your blob here you need to specify what files you want to load. So definitely you need to specify a wildcard path over here. So the folder path is emp, and what is the file name you want to specify? I want to specify star. Star means it is going to take all the files. So simply debug it.
Ram, if you didn't mention that, is it going to overwrite the data, or do we get any error message?
Which one? Which option you are talking about?
No, already we have copied that Bangalore file, right?
Yeah, it will add, right? It will duplicate the data.
Okay.
So now we can see how many files it has read. See, now 3 files has read. Total how many rows has written? 6 rows. Each file contains 2 rows. It has written. Let's check. See here, all the 3 files data has loaded. So this is how, if you are executing as many number of times this one, it is before copying the data into destination, it will truncate the data and loading the data. Okay, in some situations what will happen, whatever the files contain some wrong data. In that kind of situations what will happen, let's say for example, for one of the file, go to blob storage, go to the storage accounts, E classes memory 678, go over here, employee, so select this emp Chennai, click on edit. So this employee number I'm going to give it as a some wrong like this characters I'm giving, but your target table data type is a integer. Let's see how it will behave. Save it. Now we can go to data factory, debug it. Whether it is failed or what it is doing, we will check.
Ram, is it possible to see when the task is running, how the data will be moving from one place to the one place? Like,
Come again.
is it possible to see when the task is running, when the pipeline is running? Okay, that time itself, is it possible to see like the how the data moves and all?
No, no, no. That I don't think any ETL tools are.
We have in SSIS, like when the task it is running, okay, the data flow it is running, we can see the status and all in the in progress tab. Okay.
Oh, that kind of statuses you cannot see over here.
Okay. Here, once the task is completed, then only we can see the overview, right?
Yeah, you can see, right? See, for example, if it is debug, when I'm clicking on the debug, so it will make, see, what is this? In progress. The color you can observe. Blue color is in progress. Red color is fail. Green color is success.
But we can't see in the in-depth details what task and where it is, like the row-wise insertion and all those things. We can't see that one, right, in detail.
That after you can, after execution success, see here. So what is error message? You can see. When it was success, it has given a pictorial representation from where you are taking to where you are loading all the information you can able to see, right? After execution. See what is the error issue? Type conversion failure. When converting the value R for column employee number from type string to type integer 32 got failed. Was not in a correct format. So what is the solution? Whatever, this is the error record. Employee number should not have that. So I don't want to fail my copy data activity. What do you want to do? I want to move this kind of values into another destination. Simply click on the settings, go to fault tolerance. What do you want to do? Skip incompatible rows. Where do you want to skip this incompatible rows? I want to load these files into one of the storage account in the blob only. Okay, in the blob only I want to store. And in which folder you want to store this? The same EMP folder only I want to use. Okay, so inside this folder only, or else if you want to create a new folder, you can. All right, now I am going to execute. Only the error records, error rows I want to skip and save inside this path. Now we can debug it. So again it got failed. Let's see. Is there a column mapping, column number not found? Now go to the mappings. Why this is not found? Let's check whether I have data loaded or not. SQL database. Click OK. Select star from EMP. Nothing is here. So Let's validate this first. Validation means whatever you have designed, whether it has any kind of activities, I mean any kind of issues in the configuration, will simply let's execute. Go to the CMP folder. Yeah, the skipped rows are coming to copy activity logs. Go over here, copy data block 2. So 2 times the records. Open this file. The issue records are coming over here. Go to edit. Only blocks can be edited from the portal. But I want to see the data, right? Then I want to download this file to see. Okay, open this file. File has created, but why the data is not copying? Employee MP copy logs. So file path, copy data. Okay. So the error message is user error invalid column mapping, column number not found. Column not found. Which column? Column employee number specified in column mappings cannot be found in source data. Okay, let's do one thing. I will take any of one file first. Let's take this. Oh, did you understand the problem? This, it is going inside this copy activity logs as well, and it is trying to load that data also. That's the mistake. Okay, try to maintain this error information in a separate folder instead of this location. It's trying to go over here and go over here, select these two. Let's do one thing. I will completely remove the CMP folder. Let's create a fresh folder. You cannot delete it. Okay, let me delete it.
Ram, but we did not enable the traverse option, right? To loop through the subfolders. But how come it is traversing to the subfolders?
We have, right? Where it is?
Because we created in the same folder. We have not
It is,
created in separate folder.
it is trying to hit that folder name. At least it is treating like another object, right? EMP Bangalore, EMP Hyderabad, and one more folder you have inside that. It is trying to hit that one. We have given it the entire folder. So let's create a new.
Also file spec we gave star. If we give employee emp .txt, then it would have picked only emp tables. Don't delete. Please change the spec as emp, so that might work.
Let's try it both ways. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the files. EMP Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. EMP Bangalore, EMP Chennai, and EMP HP. Okay, so now let's go over here under the settings. The fault tolerance path I will change. Same linked service, but I want to change the folder path. Let's create a new container for this one. Container error log. Done. Okay, browse it. Okay, inside this it is going to store. Let's try now. Then again we will change the record here by making some error records. Okay, it has executed successfully. Now let's change the one of the file path. Go to EMP, select the Chennai. Edit, make it this record as a TTT. Save it. Now let's run this one. Debug. Right, success. But how many files it has read? 3 files it has read. But how many rows it has written? 5. But it should be 6 records it has to return. Let's see what is the 6 record, where it went. Go to error log, copy activity logs, copy blob 2, open this file, download, open, see here, see. In this particular day, in this column, this row, exception occurred when converting the value this for a column employee number type string. Got it? So this is how we can redirect your rows to another location as well. So it is giving clear picture over here. Rows read 6, but rows written is 5. How many skipped? 1 record skipped. 1 record skipped over here. From blob storage to Azure SQL database. So this is called a fault tolerance. Whenever there is error records, I don't want to fail my pipeline. You need to set up, enter the copy data activity under the settings fault tolerance. There are some other options as well. Let's discuss about those options in the next session. Any questions so far?
Ram, can you please, can you please connect SQL Server via Key Vault?
Yeah, that's what we will discuss. We have that concept as well. Azure Key Vault. Connections through Azure
Okay.
Key Vault in further sessions.
Okay.
Okay, so let's meet tomorrow. We'll discuss about new scenario along with this copy data activity with the different options what we have. More we will explore each and every option.